back. I don't know, man. Twitch is twitchy.
I thought you always needed another species to serve as one of the parents.
Think about it, Shepard. If we were not able to mate with our own species, we would have died out long before we ever mastered spaceflight and left our homeworld. Union with our own kind is no longer common, not for the purposes of reproduction. Most Asari believe it weakens our species.
See?
Asari daughters inherit racial traits from the father species. If both parents are Asari, then nothing has been gained, or so conventional wisdom would hold. I am what is sometimes called,
I think I have all the DLC. I got like a pack with the 3 games on
Asari
Origin.
cruel enough to say the word to my face. It is a great insult
Pure
to
blood.
my people. It is possible Benezia's partner was embarrassed by their union. She may have been too ashamed to publicly acknowledge me as her offspring.
Maybe she wanted to meet you but couldn't. Something could have happened to her. Maybe she passed away.
You might be right. I hope you are. But I have no way to know for sure. Benezia never spoke of her partner. Whatever happened, it caused her too much pain to dwell on it. She raised me by herself, though that is not uncommon. Many Asari raise their children alone, particularly if the father species is short-lived. Often the partner will pass on long before the child reaches maturity.
I should
Okay.
go.
Goodbye, Shepard.
I spoke to her enough. Bye-bye. I know. Well, it makes sense because if you could breed, I mean, it's basically like breeding with like the way they look at breeding with your own species is like breeding with your cousin, which I think makes sense. Like they're like, why would you have sex with your cousin when you could have sex with an entire other species that adds to your species? So I guess it's not like it's unhealthy like it is for humans to fuck your cousin. You shouldn't have sex with your cousin, but it's, I don't know. Right? Does that make sense? Does anybody get that? No? I could be totally wrong. I don't know. Who am I?
Shepard, I'm glad you're here.
Good to see you smiling again, so to speak.
I'm sleeping much better now. I guess I'm getting used to how quiet your ship is. I still think a lot about my pilgrimage, though. I know Steren's our top priority, but with all the worlds we go to, I was hoping to find something to bring back to the flotilla.
We've still got a long way to go. You'll find something to take back.
Yes, but it cannot just be some derelict ship my people can use for salvage. It has to be more than that. There's a lot expected of me.
What's so special about you?
It's my father. He's the senior member of the Admiralty Board. He's one of only 5 people who can overrule the decisions of the Conclave for the good of the migrant fleet. My father is responsible for the lives of 17 million people. Our entire race is in his hands, and I'm his only child.
So are you some kind of heir to the Quarian throne or something?
No, it doesn't work that way. My father's position isn't hereditary. I'll probably never serve on the Admiralty Board myself. Officially, I'm just the same as any other citizen. But it doesn't work that way in practice. People have always treated me differently because of who my father is.
You must get all kinds of special privileges.
I probably had it easier than most growing up, but it's not all good. People like my father have enemies, and they're not above using me to get to him.
That must be tough on you.
My people place a high value on family and ancestry. There's an unspoken expectation that I'll live up to my father's example. Everyone's waiting for me to do something great on my pilgrimage, something that will forever change our lives for the better. If I don't, it's like I failed, and that reflects badly on both me and my father.
The work you're doing here is more important than anything any Quarian's ever done before.
Yes, I know. But you have to understand Quarian culture. We're a very insular society. The events beyond the flotilla don't much matter to the average citizen. Our greatest dream is that one day, we'll return to our homeworld and drive out the Geth. But even if we stop Seren, that's not going to happen. There's still millions of Geth behind the veil. Until they're gone, our exile will continue.
What would would you need to bring back to make everyone happy?
Something that would help us better understand the Geth. They've changed significantly since the exile. They've continued to evolve. We've done our best to study them, but it's not easy. They're very reclusive. Until recently, they never went beyond the borders of the Veil. And all the Geth we run into now are under Saren's control. We'd need to find Geth operating on their own, independently. But I don't want this to get in the way of our mission, Shepard. First, we stop Saren. Then I'll worry about my own problems.
I should go.
Good morning, Zeke.
See you later.
I look at it more like dog breeding. You try to keep a breed pure, you get shit like bulldogs and their breathing problems and bad hips. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it, actually. Considering it's common, you would think the SRA would have culturally developed a communal way of parenting. I don't think, are they communal? Like, I don't think they like, hey Greta, thank you for the biddies. I don't know if they're communal so much.
Can't believe you came on my mom.
Thank you for the host, Eliza. Thank you to everyone for re-hosting since the drop of stream and all the frame drops and my connection problems. I'm hoping to God I don't have these problems when I move to Colorado in a couple weeks or a month or whatever. But right now, my internet
Can't believe
sucks.
you came on my mom.
Dragon, thank you for the host. Rockin' Poppin', what up? Just says it in my eyeball. I got it. Denver.
Something I can do for you, Commander.
Where else have you served, Adams?
If you
I
name
already
it,
did
Clem.
this.
My last assignment was on the Tokyo. Only a cruiser, but she was a good ship. Couldn't hold a candle to the Normandy, though.
Fill me in on the IES stealth system. How does it work exactly?
You can't hide a ship out in space. They emit too much heat and radiation. Too easy for sensors to pick them up, unless you find a way to capture those emissions. So our stealth systems trap the energy we give off in storage sinks built into the ship itself. No emissions to give away our location. Eventually the sinks have to be vented. More than a few hours silent running and they overheat. Cook us inside our own hull.
There's no way for anyone to detect us?
A visual scan can still pick us up. Anyone looking out a window can see us plain as day. But you have to be pretty close to get an actual visual out in space. Most vessels rely on scanners. As long as the stealth systems are engaged, they can't see us. Not unless we accelerate to FTL speeds.
Why doesn't it work with faster-than-light travel?
Cranking up the FTL blue shifts our emissions, pushes them into frequencies too high to capture in the sinks. As soon as we make the jump, it's like setting off a flare. Sensors can pick up our location whenever we enter or exit FTL flight, but for short-range missions, our stealth systems are amazing, and we've got the only one.
Sweet. I haven't had one stream where my ISP was acting up. I'm not saying it won't happen ever, just that it hasn't happened to me yet. Also, good morning, gorgeous. Good morning. Hail Satan.
Carry on, Adams.
Aye, aye, Commander.
I slept in again today, Zeke. I'm such a bad streamer. Oh well. It's not like I should leave my house or anything.
What do you want, Shepard?
Why did you become a mercenary?
Lots of reasons.
Such as?
Such as, I needed to get out of our system. I needed to eat. I needed to survive.
Someone's a little pithy.
Why not stay and help your people?
I tried to help. That's why I had to leave.
What happened?
I was betrayed. I was head of a small tribe. We were trying to restore order after the war, but the other tribes were against us. They followed Jared, one of the few warlords who survived the war with the Turians. But he was old, and so were his ideas. He wanted to continue the war. He wanted us to fight. Turians, Solarians, each other. It didn't matter who, as long as we were fighting.
What did you want?
I just wanted Jared to shut up, to stop his ranting.
I am on
I
mountain
wanted him
time.
to stop leading the tribes astray. But he couldn't understand how much things had changed. We didn't have the numbers to go to war. Even if we did, the genophage made sure we couldn't replenish our numbers fast enough. I told them all to forget about war. We needed to focus on breeding, at least for one generation. And for a while, we were getting through. Some of the tribes started coming around.
I take it the warlord didn't appreciate that.
No, he didn't. He arranged a crush with the tribes. A meeting on neutral ground. He wanted to talk. We met at the Hollows, near the graves of our ancestors. The skulls of our dead laid bare to remind us where we come from, and where we all go. It's as sacred as any Krogan place can be. Violence is forbidden.
Sounds like a trap to me. You must have suspected as much.
I did. But when your father invites you to a crush, well, there are some laws that even we hold sacred.
Your
Jared was your
father?
father?
He was. Until that day. We talked, but we didn't get anywhere. When it was clear that I wouldn't join him, he gave the signal. His men leapt from the graves of our ancestors like Krogan undead. The few that were loyal to me died quickly.
Aww.
I escaped with my life, but not before I sank my dagger deep into my father's chest. That is why I left, and that's why I'll never go back.
Wow.
You must have family other than your father. Don't you miss them?
You trying to make me cry, Shepard? I've
No.
got some unfinished business with my family, but that's all.
What kind of business?
Before I left, I made an oath to my father's father. I swore to recover my family's battle armor. It was taken from him after the uprising.
What's so important about this armor?
It's a relic. Useless, really. But it was worn by 5 generations of my family before the war. It's rightfully mine. Originally, it was taken by the Turian military. We weren't allowed armor or weapons after the war. Now, it's in the hands of Taun Actus, a Turian scum who collects relics from the war. He's made millions selling Krogan artifacts that were stolen from my people. He's got several bases where he stores his goods, all fortified and guarded. I just don't know which base has my family's armor.
Just tell me where to start looking.
I'll upload the data to your nav system. But Commander, I want to be there when you find him.
Oh.
So long, Rex.
Shepard.
Ooh. Ugh. Next. That's some nice fucking armor. I don't care about Ashley, but I'll talk to
Commander?
her.
Do you have a few minutes to talk?
I love Rex too. She's my favorite. I battle between taking him on battle and not him.
We saw Caden in a news vid about the Normandy. He's cute.
The
Later
Krogan are my
today-
favorite race so far. I really like them.
let's pretend this never happened.
Are you interested in the lieutenant, Chief?
No, ma'am. And anyway, Scuttlebutt says he's already sweet on someone. What's up? You didn't come by to eavesdrop on family mail.
Your family seems to be important to you.
Yeah.
She's
we've
racist
always
piece
been
of shit.
close. Me and my sisters especially. With Dad on duty so much, I had to help Mom raise them.
I was an only child, but I get the idea. At least one of my parents was always on duty.
Yeah, military families, eh? With schedules like that, it's a wonder we ever have kids anymore. Things were tense between Sarah and me for a while. Then we bonded.
Saren?
Sounds like a story. Feel like sharing?
Sarah got herself a boyfriend who
Sarah.
wanted to go faster than she did, Mike. I didn't think he was a bad kid, just pushy. Lynn would
Hi,
send me these
Lima.
worried vid mails, and I'd tell her to relax.
Where were you when this was going on?
I was on active duty. Sarah's graduating high school this year. This was only a couple of years back. They were on Amaterasu. At the time, I was assigned to Chernobog. Same cluster, but a dozen Hellwire away. Close enough to talk regularly, too far to make it back in an emergency. I couldn't afford a fast packet flight.
If he really liked her, he wouldn't be pushy.
Yeah, of course. If he didn't ask at all, I'd wonder if he thought Sarah was ugly. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. Mike thought they'd go for a romantic walk in the woods, because he figured it was past time they did the deed.
Oh.
She levered Mike face first into a tree and left. Didn't have a scratch on her. Good thing Mom and Dad had us all learn some kind of self-defense. I took emergency leave and walked Sarah to school for a few days.
You traveled all the way home to walk your sister to school.
It was only a dozen light years, like a day's cruise. It's not like I was going to Earth or something. My last day out, Mike was waiting for us. Sarah had told her friends, so everyone at school knew what he did. He wasn't happy. I wanted to snap him in half, but Sarah gave me this look, this let me handle it, I need to do this alone look. She kept her cool, God bless her, as he screamed in her face. She just let him vent. Then he tried to punch her.
Ooh.
I swear, she just flowed around him. Next thing I knew, he's face down on the sidewalk, and there's blood everywhere.
That's unbelievable. Sarah must be as good as you.
Better. I'm more or less a straight-up puncher. When he swung, she wasn't there anymore, and he fell. She helped him stop the bleeding and had me call an ambulance. She told the paramedics he fell. Before they took him to the hospital, Mike touched Sarah's arm. I thought he was gonna end up on the ground again. But he hung his head, whispered, "I'm sorry," and started crying.
The fuck?
She hugged him. The Williams women are a decisive bunch, Commander. We do things when we're ready. Not before, not after.
Oh,
Your
okay.
sister's something else. But you didn't mention your father at all. Was he on deployment?
Dad always wanted to serve in space, but he wanted us to have real ground under our feet. He'd say, space is beautiful, but you can't raise a family there. I cannot rest from travel.
Hi, Rabbit Ray.
Drink life to the lees. All times I've enjoyed greatly, have suffered greatly, both with those that loved me and alone. For always roaming with a hungry heart, much have I seen and known, cities of men and manners, climates, councils, governments.
I never thought I'd hear you reciting poetry.
Just because I can drill you between the eyes at 100 meters doesn't mean I can't like sensitive stuff. Just don't spread it around. Ulysses was my dad's favorite poem. Every time he shipped out, he recorded me reading it. He had a dozen versions when he retired.
Does he still like it?
I sure hope so. I read it to his grave every time I go home. Dad passed on a few years back. He's probably still watching, though.
You mean from wherever we go after death?
Dead on, Skipper. He's with God now. That's not a problem with you, is it? That I believe in God?
Everyone has the right to believe what they want. Says so in the Alliance Charter, only with fancier words.
I'm glad you're open-minded about it. I've met a few people who were really weirded out by my faith. Because I work in space, I can't believe in a higher power? Jeez. Hello, have you people looked out the window?
Phoenix,
How
I was
can you look
literally
at
just
this
gonna say the
galaxy
exact
and
same
not
thing.
believe
Oh,
in
so she's a Bible
something?
thumper and a
I should get
racist.
back to my duties. Didn't mean to take up so
Good
much
to
of your time.
know.
What's your opinion of the last mission?
Gotta admire those colonials. That's about the worst place for a colony I've ever seen. Given the option, I'd get the hell out
Hi,
of Dodge.
Alchemy.
Dismissed, Chief.
Ma'am.
Ma'am.
Commander, good to see you.
You've been with C-Sec a while. Have you
My
seen
nose
much
feels
action?
runny.
Well, not as much as you, but yeah, I've seen some interesting things.
I bet you have. Anything in particular that stands out?
I remember this Solarian geneticist I was sent to investigate. That case was a bit disturbing.
What happened? Why were you investigating him?
I was tasked with tracking black market trade on the Citadel. Most of it harmless, nothing I
Unholy muffins!
During the course of my investigation, I noticed an increase in the trade of body parts, organs mostly. We usually get a few of those, but not the numbers I was seeing. We weren't sure if there was a new black market lab or if some freak was harvesting organs from citizens.
You've seen this before on the Citadel?
Every so often, some lab sells unwanted parts through the black market, but they're not as bad as the psychos. I remember this one L-Corps diplomat we caught in my first year on the job. He was hacking people up and selling their organs, had the station in a bit of a panic. But this case wasn't that clear-cut. Turns out there was more going on than we first realized.
So how did you figure out what was happening?
First, we got a hold of a sample and ran DNA tests. The weird thing was, the match led us to a Turian who was still alive and was very convinced he'd never lost his liver. After a bit of digging, I discovered this Turian worked briefly for Dr. Salion, the geneticist. So I went to his lab hoping to find evidence of cloned organ development, but there was nothing. No Solarian hearts, no Turian livers, not one Krogan testicle.
Testicle?
You're kidding, right? Why would anyone want Krogan testicles?
Some Krogan believe that testicle transplants can increase their virility, counteract the effects of the genophage.
Oh.
It doesn't work, but that doesn't stop them from buying. They'll pay up to 10,000 credits each. That's 40,000 for a full set. Somebody's making a killing out there.
Wait. Wait. Was that bad math, or do they have 4 balls? I thought you were kidding. Okay, that's real. I thought we were all just talking about how ballsy Krogans are.
What'd you do about the
They call them
genetics?
quads.
I brought in some of his employees for interrogation to see if I could get them to talk. While I was interviewing one of them, I came across something suspicious.
4 balls, 2 penises, still can't make babies. That's depressing.
You mean threatening? Was that really necessary?
She licked
Maybe,
my
maybe
door.
not. Either way, it paid off. One of my detainees
Please,
started
mother.
bleeding profusely during the interview. We offered to patch him up, and he got frantic, freaked out. I ordered a full exam to find out what was going on. Our medics found incisions all over his body, some of them fresh. That was our big break. These people weren't just Dr. Salion's employees. They were test tubes, walking, living test tubes.
He was growing parts inside these people?
Exactly. He cloned their organs right inside their own bodies, then he harvested them and sold them off. Most of the victims were poor. He'd pay them each a small percentage of the sales, but only if the organs were good. Sometimes an organ wouldn't grow properly, so he'd just leave it in them. Most of them were a mess, but only on the inside, hidden so nobody could see it.
That is fucked up. Their vasectomies must be much worse than humans.
I hope he got what he deserved.
That's the worst part. We never caught him.
Why not? What the hell happened?
He ran, blew his lab, grabbed some of his employees, and headed for the nearest space dock. By the time I found out, his ship was already leaving. He threatened to kill his hostages if we tried to stop him.
But you went after him anyway, right?
I ordered Citadel Defense to shoot him down, but CSEC headquarters countermanded my order. They were worried about the hostages, worried about civilian casualties if the ship was destroyed so close to the Citadel. I told them those hostages were dead anyway. He just used them to make more organs, but they wouldn't listen.
Fireballs, I want to see them. I can't gargle for it one time, good God.
It's not worth the risk. You pursue the vessel and disable it. That's the best choice.
They sent the military after him, but he got away just the same. Yes, they did. I went to Palin and told him what I thought of him and his policies. He said if I didn't like it, I could quit. Well, I almost did. All they had to do was disable that ship, stop him from running. Maybe the hostages die, maybe they don't, but at least we stopped the bastard responsible for it all.
If you don't care about the fate of those hostages, then you're no better than he is. You're just a terrorist with a badge.
Yeah, maybe you're right. It doesn't make it any easier, but I see your point. Just wish I could have stopped him.
Bitch.
Do you have any idea what happened to Dr. Salian?
I sent out feelers from time to time, hoping to find something. I thought I'd found him a while back. He changed ships and changed his name to Dr. Hart, his idea of a joke, I guess. I told the military, but they weren't convinced it was him. I got the transponder frequency for his new ship, but I just can't get anyone to check it out.
I'll check out the coordinates when I get a chance.
I was hoping you'd say that. But Commander, take me with you when you go. If it's Salion, I want to be there when you find him.
Okay. I don't need to talk to you. I already talked to Tally, didn't I? Yeah, I think I talked to everybody except Caden. I don't really care. Caden's boring as fuck. Guys, I have to pee now. It's like Millie pees and then I pee, and then Millie pees and then I pee. There's Caden, you boring fuck.
Do you have some time to talk now, Commander?
Let's hear it, Lieutenant. I'm always open to my officers.
We've played it pretty close to the book so far, but we're a long way from backup. We've got some tough calls to make. I'm just saying, try to leave yourself a way out. I've seen what cutting corners can do, and I'd hate to have that happen to you, Shepard. Commander.
That's not the appropriate way to address your commanding officer, Lieutenant.
Sorry, ma'am. Maybe I got a bad signal. And if you're a... maybe there's someone else you'd rather confide in. Ma'am.
Someone? You're referring to our young Prothean expert.
I think she's older than both of us put together, but, yeah. There's a lower deck rumor that she's, interested in you as more than a source of Prothean data.
I'm gonna fuck her.
She's a very interesting lady. To my, tastes, but, I never claimed to be big on alien culture.
You seem awfully worried about my personal affairs.
It's just that we don't have much downtime these days. I like being around you, but I don't want to take up your personal time.
Look, there's nothing between Liara and me.
Oh, wait, what?
What's the real issue here, Caden?
You're right. Sorry, it wasn't,
I lied!
Not my main concern. I'm not questioning any decision you've made, Shepard. Let me be clear about that.
Both the humans
It's
are
just my experience
racist.
that once someone lets something slide, it tends to pick up speed. Do you get my meaning?
Talk to me, Caden. You got a little black rain cloud sitting over your head.
I lied like a big lie pants.
You know the records about the biotic training out on Jump Zero? They're all classified because the Alliance made mistakes. After first contact, Kinetics was set up to track
What
element
happened?
zero exposures
You post a link?
and develop implants for humans. Once we had an embassy on the Citadel, Kinetics could bring in experts.
Yeah, I want to
Some
fuck the
take
blue
it
chick,
slow.
Liara. The one I just lied about
I'm sure Kinetics did what they thought
on
was
accident.
It wasn't best for us.
Oh,
They
just
brought in
you're
an
fine, honey. It was the
ex-military
period in it.
Commander Vernus.
Yeah, it's just
Introduced
it's a
himself
stupid
to say,
filter. Sorry,
"I was
honey.
the helm of the dreadnought that killed your
I love you
father."
too. And
I
Liara.
told him my dad wasn't in the war. He'd retired to Vancouver. My
How
family
could I
had
not
no
pick a fellow
mature
blue noodle?
Vernus
Come
had
on,
it in
it's
for
the
me
way of
after
life.
that. He cut corners, pushed hard. I mean, you either came out a Superman or a wreck. A lot of kids snapped. A few died. The point of
Ooh.
all this, I guess, is that when you cut corners, it's not always obvious who pays for it.
That's really sad.
So why are you telling me this? Is there something I can do to help you get over it?
I'm 32, Shepard. You don't serve as long as I have without coming to terms with yourself.
I'm a 32-year-old
If someone is special,
lady.
keep them from making
Excuse me, a
mistakes.
32-year-old lady. Woo! Special? You're assuming a lot.
So you think you have leave to talk like we're more than officers?
I got some signals. Maybe some static too, I guess.
You!
If I'm out of line, just say the word.
Sorry, Caden. This was just a battlefield thing.
There's my answer then. I'm sorry to have bothered you, Commander. I got some mixed signals. With your permission, I should return to my duties.
Boring piece of shit. If you think about it, Liara's like UCK, blue hair, pleasant disposition, fucks any species anytime, and she's in the medical bay. I know.